I'm Susan Berkley from GreatVoice.com with this week's Inside Voiceover. And the subject this week is my top 10 home recording tricks. I'm going to put my glasses on because I want to make sure I don't miss a single one for you. The first tip is to make sure you are recording from the quietest room in your house. And for many people, that's going to be inside a walk-in closet. Leave the clothing in there, though, to get the sound dampening effect. Don't pull those clothes out. If you don't have a closet that's big enough, your next best choice will be to find the quietest room and position yourself recording into a corner away from a window. And if you want, you can actually dampen that corner by hanging a comforter or pushing some pillows in there. That's going to help. Next tip is to make sure that your computer recognizes your microphone. A lot of people don't realize that the computer won't necessarily default to your mic. It'll default to the onboard microphone in the computer, giving you a hollow, distant sound. So if you find that happening, go into the preferences section and find your mic in there and select it. Big difference in the way you'll sound. Third tip is to make sure your software recognizes your microphone. Who knew that you had to do that too? So most software will have an audio in button. Go in there, go to software preferences, find your mic and click it. Fourth tip, always use a pop screen. What's a pop screen? Looks like a little piece of pantyhose stretched over an embroidery hoop or a hoop of some kind. And use the fabric kind, don't use the metal kind. They're very important and they will stop pops. Hey, and if you're a bad popper, you can actually use two pop screens, one in front of the other. That's another tip too. My fifth tip, and this really sounds silly, but a lot of people do it, is to make sure that you are recording into the right side of the microphone. For some of the mics these days, and look, don't feel like a fool if you record it into the wrong side of the mic. It's easy to do with some of today's mics. But the way that you'll make sure you always are talking into the right side of the mic is to find the logo. That's the side that you talk into. Next tip is to position yourself about a hand's width away from the mic, depending on the sound of your voice and the mic. But start there, see how that works for you. My next tip after that is to make sure that you are talking so the air from your mouth doesn't hit the microphone directly. Do this. Peter Piper picked a pack of pickled peppers. Feel how much air hits your hand when you do that. That same air is going to hit the mic unless it's blocked by a pop screen or you're positioning yourself improperly. So you want to make sure you position yourself so the air from your mouth doesn't directly hit the mic. That'll cause popping. My eighth tip is to make sure that you've recorded everything accurately. So when you're done, play it back. Check it carefully, check against the script, make sure you didn't miss anything. My ninth tip is to save the file. Now, want to make sure that before you start recording, you've set up folders with your client names and today's date. So we have a folder within a folder for each client for today's date and the recordings that we've done. And that way, we keep everything well organized. You can go back, you can always find something that you've recorded. And my 10th and final tip is to email the file to the customer, but you're not done yet. Make sure you are sending it in the format that they want, which is most likely going to be an MP3. Sometimes they want a WAV format, which is a somewhat better version of the file, but the client will specify. If it's WAV, they're going to be bigger files, way bigger files. You might not be able to email them. You might have to use an FTP site where you upload the file, a place like SendSpace or something like that. And those are my top 10 recording tips and tricks for you on Inside Voiceover. I'll be back next week with more.